Hey, this is Marisa Murgatroyd, and I just wrapped Module 3 of my Experience Product Masterclass. And while I was all set up for filming, I thought I'd give you an exclusive behind-the-scenes tour of how you can create amazing videos for your online course. And I gotta say, I was a little bit hesitant to do this because I've got kind of a big setup right here, kind of a big fancy production. And this is a course that over time has become a multi-million-dollar a year product line. And so I can afford to invest in all the bells and the whistles and the fancy equipment. And I know that so many people watching and so many of my students are just getting started with their programs. So allow this to inspire you as to what the future may look like for you, rather than to hold you back and make you feel like you have to have all of this before you even get started. So here's the thing that I teach my students. I teach them to focus on a minimum viable product, all right? So here's the idea of a minimum viable product is you start with the paper plane version of your product rather than trying to build the jet plane one piece at a time. Because when you try to build the jet plane one piece at a time, it takes you a long, long time, months, if not years and years and years before you build a plane that can fly. But you can make a paper plane in just a matter of minutes. And from there, you iterate your way to awesome to the hang glider version of your product, then the biplane version of your product, then a slightly fancier version, and ultimately that jet plane version of your product. So don't let the jet plane version of my product prevent you from getting out the paper plane version of yours. So let me share a little bit about what I'm doing here behind the scenes and the choices that I made to create this multi-million-dollar online course product line that's become the jet plane version of my product. First of all, you gotta know that this is not the first version of the Experience Product Masterclass. This is actually, let me see, the fourth version of the Experience Product Masterclass. And the very first version, my paper plane version, was back in 2016. It was just me showing up live on Zoom 5 days a week, teaching and training my heart out. And then the next version, let's call it the hang glider version, was me doing voiceover with slides, all right? And then I kind of iterated that one a couple times from there. And then this time around, I'm re-recording everything direct to camera with all the bells and the whistles, the full video shoot, the hair and the makeup artist, and everything that you can imagine. But remember, that took me years and years to get there, from 2016 to 2021. So that's what, 6 years that it took me to get from this version of the product to that version. So whatever you do, do not think you have to start at this version. You do not need everything I'm about to show you, but it's still instructive to see how and why I made the choices that I did. But if you're just getting started, I highly recommend starting out with live Zoom sessions. Keep it easy on yourself. Just get started and see if people are gonna buy your product, and then go from there, because the sky really is the limit once you start taking off and flying. All right? So here we go. We are on set here, and this is actually my house. We call this the Great Room, and it's got super high ceilings, like 30-foot ceilings. And honestly, this space, we had no idea what to do with this space when I moved in. So I decided to turn it into a video set. And the idea is that we could film in lots of different angles. You know, this is the bookshelf angle. We've got a mural angle over here. Back there, we've got an angle against the stairs, and we're about to reset for Module 4. And I'm gonna show you as we're setting up right now. You can see us setting up for Module 4 as well. And then we've got other angles that we shoot, like in this direction and in that direction, so we can have lots of different looks and feels. So one of the things that I wanted to do, because there's a lot of content and a lot of training, I really help people in this program learn how to design, launch, and profit from their very own experience product in 12 weeks or less, so they can get off the marketing treadmill, make more sales, and have a bigger impact. And because this particular course has over 50 sessions in it, I wanted it to have some range and scope and complexity and dynamism. So every single module we've shot has been against a different background. We started over there in Module 1, then Module 2 was like that, Module 3 is like this, Module 4 is going in that direction, and Module 5 will be in that direction. So people feel like they're traveling around this space with me. And it's not just the backdrops that are different. We actually have a different color palette for each of the modules. So each module has a different, accent color from the others. And because of that, I have a different outfit for each one of these modules as well that really complements that secondary accent color of that module. I actually wear the same outfit for an entire module, and sometimes these modules have up to a dozen videos in them. And so you may wonder, why don't I wear a different outfit for every single one? Well, first of all, that would mean 50 outfits. And ladies, I got a lot of clothes, but that's more clothes than I got. And the other thing is it gives us flexibility. We can mix and match. In a moment, I'm going to show you what the finished product looks like. I'm going to give you a segment from Module 3 that's specifically about whether to shoot direct to camera like this for your course, or whether to start with a more live online delivery. So you're going to see what that finished product looks like in a moment, and how these different cameras and the setup really comes to fruition in the finished product, all right? But one outfit for the entire module just gives us that flexibility. We just did some pickup shoots today because after finishing writing Module 3, I went back and made some changes to earlier videos so I can kind of fake it, and you don't necessarily know because it's the same outfit against the same background for the entire module, right? So that really gives us a lot of range and flexibility and scope. But here's the thing. No matter what, honestly, I think I'm fairly good on camera, but just hearing me talk for hours and hours and hours, it gets a little bit boring, no matter how good and how compelling and how important and even life-changing and world-changing the content is, because I really do believe that when you create an online course around your knowledge, around your expertise, that you can change people's lives and maybe even change the world. I truly believe that every person has an online course inside of them, and it's just that process of pulling it out and figuring out where you meet the market, which is so compelling and so important, and unfortunately a journey that not everybody makes. But you can make it when you've got that proven pathway. So even though the content is life-changing and I believe world-changing, I know that if I'm just talking all the time, people are going to get a little bit bored. So that's why we do some interesting things when it comes to the production. First of all, this is a 3-camera shoot. Usually I've got the main camera over here with the teleprompter because I actually script all my trainings, not this blog. This video is just off the cuff, right? But I script my actual training sessions because I want to give people exactly the step-by-step how-to in the most effective, efficient, and compelling way possible without me rambling and figuring out the point or giving a bunch of unnecessary information. Plus, I teach using a process that I call the Experience Formula, which is adding all kinds of levels of peak emotional experiences and wins and normalizing challenges and feedback loops to really help keep you super duper engaged and even hooked on taking action towards building your business with an online course. So that's a little bit of a few extra levels to kind of get in there that I can't always get off the cuff like I am here, just kind of sharing gratuitously for fun with you versus giving you the step-by-step how-to, which takes a little bit more forethought and planning. So we got a main camera here with a teleprompter, and then I've got what's called the B cam. So A cam is always the main camera. B cam is more of a shot here that's kind of more of a head and shoulders shot. And then we've got a C cam, which is what we're actually using as the main camera right now for this particular video blog. And that does cutaways. So for example, if I have a prop, like I just had a prop a moment ago, we'll hold the prop up and then we'll zoom in and go closer on the prop. As you can see some examples here on the screen from some of the props that I've used in this particular module. And that's just the camera setup, okay? But in addition to the direct-to-camera footage, we actually include things like B-roll. That's stock footage that we find on stock video sites around the web that we pay to license and use. We might use a little bit of music here and there. We might use some clips from YouTube or other places to just add a level of dynamism to what it is that we're doing. We also include what we call overlays, which is text that you see overlaid on top of the screen, like you can see right here below me right now. This is called an overlay. And then we also do full screen slides on top of what I'm saying. So if I'm making a more detailed point, or I really want to go into a worksheet or an explanation or whatever it happens to be, I'll have a slide cover what I'm saying. And the iPad is where we show the worksheets. So for every single training session that I do, I've also got a clickable, fillable, interactive PDF that goes along with it. So what we do is we put these different cues in the slide deck, and then we end up using the worksheets. And then I'll be holding the iPad as I walk them through the actual worksheet, okay? And that makes it super dynamic and makes it feel like they're looking at the worksheet with me. And then we'll do cutaways to the actual worksheet in that full screen slide format, right? So here's the worksheet, and I'm about to grab the iPad. So we'll have the iPad cues, and I'll just hold it open. And a lot of times at this point, it's just pretend. I'm just kind of pretending that I'm going through the worksheet, with them. And then later on, we'll create this effect in post-production. So like I said, we've got props, we've got B-roll, we've got slides, we've got direct-to-camera footage, we've got overlays, we've got iPad, and all of these different things come together to create the clip that you're about to see. So I'll show that for you in just a moment, but I want to just finish walking you through my setup over here, all right? So here you see Diego. He hands me the props and the iPad just in the nick of time. But you see this extra microphone right here. This connects to my teleprompter, okay? So basically this goes through here and it connects to a teleprompter over here. And the teleprompter, really kind of shows me all of my scripts on an iPad. And it reads and tracks with my voice, all right? And that's super duper helpful, so I'm not thinking on the fly of what I'm gonna say like I am right now, as you can see, but I'm actually following my script. And of course, it kind of bugs out and flakes out all the time, so I need someone like Diego over here to kind of support me and just pausing and going back, and I make mistakes and I flub all the time as well, and so, we'll have to go back and forth and have someone to support that. Then of course, I've got the lights, I've got the direct camera lights, I've got lights on the background, you see, that go there to light up the bookshelf. I've got other lights all around me to make this happen. And the other thing that we've got here in this space is sound baffles. So you can probably hear there's a little bit of an echo in this space because the ceiling is 35 feet up. And I actually considered, getting baffles on the ceiling, but it cost like $30,000, $40,000. And I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna make that happen. So instead I bought these sound baffles that we just place in different places around the location. So I've got one to my left, I've got one to my right, I've got one in front of me. And the idea is that's helping to bounce the sound so it diminishes the actual echo. So if you can think about a space, you've got the floor, you've got the ceiling, and you've got probably 4 walls around you. And the rule of thumb is you wanna have at least 4 or 5 of those surfaces kind of covered to really absorb some of the sound. So I've also got a carpet here as well. Now you'll notice that I'm actually standing on this little bit of a foam mat. So I oftentimes do shoots that start at 10 a.m. and go to 5 p.m. or even 6 p.m. So I'm talking for 6, 7, 8 hours a day, and that's a lot of talking. So I stand for a lot of my shoots. Some people sit at a table, but I like to stand because I'm dynamic and I use my hands and I talk with my whole body and I'm just a spaz. And so that's kind of what I do. And this helps me be able to stand for a long time, because otherwise if it's a hardwood floor, my legs will start to get really sore. They already get really sore. As you can see, I'm also wearing my slippers, right? My big fuzzy bear slippers, because that keeps me nice and warm. It's a little bit cold right now as I go. And these are the things that I use to keep myself comfortable. You'll see I've got a mic here, just a lavalier mic, and it's on this kind of receiver right over here. That just kind of goes through my dress, and I end up leaving it on the ground and just pick it up kind of when I want to travel around. Hopefully I didn't make too much noise or interference there where I did that. I also have all of my fluids. So talking this much takes a lot of vocal chops. So before I even go on camera, I do about 30 minutes of vocal exercises that I worked with a trained kind of opera singer to create for me. And I do not go on camera. I don't do a webinar without doing those vocal exercises. But it's not just that. I've got to stay hydrated. I can't drink any caffeine on shoot day, or it just dries out my vocal cords, and I can't get through 6, 7, 8 hours of shooting, which is a lot. But I also always have water. Sometimes water with electrolytes and minerals in it to really hydrate myself. And I drink throat coat tea. So you'll see I create like 3 things of water, and I use these giant mason jars because it's efficient and can last a while. Sometimes I'll have a straw in it so I don't mess up my lipstick, right? And I'll also have 3 big things of throat coat tea, and I just go through those throughout the day. Sometimes I even fill them up another time. So I might go through, 5 or 6 of these big mason jars of water and another 5 of these tea over the course of a shoot. So you really want to take care of your vocal cords, and you want to train your voice over time to give yourself that capacity, not just to talk to hours, but to actually have range in your voice. So I can hit the highs and the lows and everything in between and really have that range and that depth and all of it in my voice. So that's just a little bit about this setup. And in terms of crew, it's myself. I've got a hair and makeup artist who comes in the morning and gets me all good to go for the camera. Usually if I'm just doing a YouTube video like this, I just do my own hair and makeup, and I'm not that good at hair and makeup. I've really never learned. But when it comes to something that's forever, that thousands of people are gonna see, that generates a lot of money in the business, I spend the extra time, right? I do all of my own styling, choose all of my own clothes. I do have the professional, like I said, for the hair and makeup. Then I've got a videographer. Her name is Elise, and she is awesome if you want to contact her. And usually we have one set PA. Right now we're using a organization, a nonprofit in Los Angeles called Streetlights. And Streetlights is all about helping, minorities get started in the film and TV industry. And so we use Streetlights, and they provide us with PAs every single day to support with the teleprompter and everything like that. And that's pretty much the shoot. I do it in my own home. Elise brings all of her own gear. I do own some of my own cameras and mics and lights and things as well for when I just do the more casual things. But like I said, this is the jet plane version of my product. If you're in the paper plane version, I just started going live on Zoom and then posting my Zooms. And then after that, I would just do voice with slides, and you wouldn't see my face at all. But after 6 years of that, it kind of felt like I wanted to invest in this program and invest in my customer experience, because I really believe that customer success is the new marketing. And when you, my students, win, I win too. And so I want to create at this point in my career the best possible online course experience. But like I said, this is a multi-million-dollar a year course, so I can afford this. I'd say filming this entire course, just in terms of the hard costs of the filming and the editing, we actually have a team of 10 editors getting this done in time, because we actually sold the version of the course of several $1 million worth of this course, and now we're delivering it on demand, staying one step ahead. So we've got a team of 10 editors in the US and in the Philippines working behind the scenes. So the total cost of filming this 5 modules is about $100,000. So like I said, you don't want to do this for your minimum viable product. You really don't want to do this until you get to the jet plane version of your course. But maybe you pick and choose just 1 or 2 things from what I shared here with you to get you started, and really understand that when you're delivering to camera, it's not just what you're saying, it's how you're saying it, how you're being, how aligned and committed you are to what it is that you're delivering. So if you're scripting, it's so important that what you're saying feels like something that you would actually say. When I'm writing for the written word, it's very different than when I'm writing for the spoken word on camera. I actually talk to myself as I'm writing, because it's got to sound like something that's actually flowing out of my mouth, coming off of my tongue. And if it doesn't, I rewrite it until it does. So I've got that kind of organic feeling, like this really feels like me. This is me talking, not somebody else, not a politician who's being scripted for by somebody else. This is me, and this is my life experience, and it's what I'm sharing with you and what I'm sharing with the world. And it's my absolute privilege and honor. But like I said, I was super hesitant to actually share this exclusive behind the scenes of the makings of a multi-million-dollar online course product line, because I know that when you see this, it might overwhelm you from even starting. But remember, the way I started with this product that's now generated over $10 million is simply jumping on Zoom and talking people live 5 days a week. And then it evolved from there to voice and slides, and it evolved and it evolved and it evolved. And here we are with all of the bells and whistles. So how would you like to see a sneak peek of what the finished product looks like? Yes? Beautiful. So I'm going to show you, I think it's Module 3, Video 8, and it's a snippet on how to really deliver your product delivery without the fuss, all right? So go ahead, watch this training, which is highly relevant because it's all about the choice between whether you want to deliver your course, live online, on Zoom, or whether you want to do something more pre-recorded, whether that's slides and voice or direct to camera like this. So I'm going to show you something so relevant to kind of what we're talking about right now. All right, so go ahead and watch this snippet from Module 3, Video 8, Product Delivery Without the Fuss. If you're incorporating trainings into your one-to-few experience product, you need to decide whether you want to deliver those trainings live, using our #1 rapid product creation method, live delivery, or whether you want to pre-record those trainings. If you decide to deliver it live virtually, I highly recommend sticking with Zoom Meeting, which we already talked about. In my opinion, it's the best option out there and the price is right. I wouldn't even look at other options, just go with Zoom. If you start and end the recording right at the beginning and right at the end, it will deliver a recording that's ready to post, so you don't even have to do any editing. This is by far the easiest way to create a one-to-few or one-to-many training-based product. Now, if you do decide to pre-record your training sessions, I also have just one recommendation, Camtasia. It's a video recording and editing software that's super simple and easy to use. It allows you to use your computer to record yourself direct to camera or record your screen. And this is what I've done with many of my trainings over the years. I have my slide deck open in Keynote, and then I click play on the slide deck to go full screen. I click through the slides and I record the screen as I talk, and Camtasia records everything. If I make a mistake, I usually clap 2 times to create a spike in the audio waveform so I can easily find it later, which makes the editing process faster, and then I keep going. While Camtasia does have a cost, which we've outlined for you in the worksheet for this session, you only need to buy this tool once, and it's a lot cheaper and easier to use than more professional tools such as Adobe Premiere. It's well worth the investment. You may also want to get a dedicated external mic for your voiceovers, and we've got some recommended mics for you to consider in the worksheet for this session. One quick ninja trick. When I'm doing live delivery or pre-recording videos directly into my computer using a slide deck, I put my keyboard on my lap to muffle the sound of clicking through my slides. If you keep your keyboard on your desk, you'll hear the clicking sound in the audio, and that can be a distraction. Keep in mind that it usually takes 3 times longer to pre-record a session than to deliver it live. I personally don't enjoy pre-recording content nearly as much as live delivery since I thrive on the interaction, but you may be the opposite. While I always create new products with live delivery, I usually end up pre-recording the sessions once I've dialed in the program content, since pre-recorded trainings have the highest audio and video quality, and they also give me the most flexibility. With pre-recorded content, I can make a training that's 5 minutes or 50 minutes long. I'm not stuck needing to fill an hour-long time block, and I can make each training just as long as it needs to be, no more and no less. So whether you choose live delivery or pre-recorded, you're probably going to need some slides, unless you do all your training via direct-to-camera video. So when it comes to getting slides designed, I recommend working in Keynote if you're on a Mac or PowerPoint if you're on a PC. You can design your own slides or hire a slide designer on Fiverr or Upwork to do it for you. What I find super helpful is to create a slide template for each product. This includes our product logo, title slides, a handful of background slides, our program color palette, various text slides, bullet point slides, numbered list slides, quote slides, and hand-drawn visual elements such as circles and arrows that we can use to accentuate parts of a slide. Now, we also create key slides that we reuse on a regular basis, such as the experience formula, the your mission should you choose to accept it homework slide, the experience product flight plan, iterate your way to awesome, and of course, my favorite, Zig Ziglar quote. If you design a slide deck in Keynote, it's super simple to create PDF slide handouts with very little extra work. Simply click File in the top menu bar and choose Print from the drop-down list that appears. In the pop-up window that appears, you'll see various options. You want to choose Handout or Outline, and then check the boxes for what you want to display on the pages and how many slides per page. As you make those changes, you can see a preview of what your handout's going to look like. Once you're happy with that, choose the PDF button in the lower left corner and select Print to PDF. Then you just choose where you want to save your file and what name you want to give it, and you have instant handouts. Now, here's an example of one of my actual Google Doc scripts. After I finish scripting, I go back and I add in slide and video cues, and you can see the slide cues highlighted in yellow and the video cues highlighted in red. These cues do 2 things. First, they allow our slide designer to create the right slides in the right places. And second, they signal to me when it's time to change the slide as I'm delivering my content live, or when it's time to drop in a pattern interrupt video or something else. For this version of EPM, where I switched from slide and voice to direct-to-camera video, I've added in a few more cues into my scripts, such as DTC, which stands for direct-to-camera, B-roll, which includes any extra video footage we may want to include, prop for when we're also using something tangible to demonstrate an idea or get a specific point across, like this skeleton, which I used in session 2 of this module to talk about how to turn your bird's eye view into the exact modules and sessions you'll provide. Then we've got overlay for any titles or text to appear on screen while I'm also talking, and iPad for any of the scenes where I'm also referring to content on my iPad. Again, this is the jet plane version of this product, and I highly, highly, highly recommend keeping production as simple as possible at this point. I don't recommend doing direct-to-camera videos like this one until at least the biplane version of your product, because it's a lot more expensive and time-consuming.